Did you know Casanova claimed he ate 50 oysters every morning? In bed. He said they made him irresistible, a living weapon of seduction. But the truth behind oysters and desire is far stranger than anything he ever bragged about. They say oysters awaken desire, that the taste of the sea, the smooth slide down the throat, sparks something primal inside us. For centuries, they've been whispered about in boudoirs and banquet halls, a food of passion, power, and sin. But behind that shimmer of lust lies something darker, a story not of romance but of obsession, deceit, and the human hunger to believe in magic. This is the real history of the world's sexiest food. Long before lovers clinked champagne glasses over oysters on ice, the ancient world already worshipped them. The Greeks believed oysters were gifts from Aphrodite, the goddess of love, born from sea foam, radiant, dripping with salt water and sunlight. From that moment, the oyster became a symbol of fertility, beauty, and the mysterious pull between flesh and ocean. The Romans continued the obsession. Emperors feasted on oysters like treasure. They were shipped across empires, packed in snow, served to generals, courtesans, and kings. To eat one was to taste the sea, to taste power. But desire is a dangerous thing, and where there's desire, there's always deception. By the 1500s, oysters had become more than delicacy, they were reputation. And no man used that reputation more theatrically than Giacomo Casanova. In the shadows of Venice, a city of masks, mirrors, and secrets, he claimed he began each day with 50 oysters. He said they stirred the blood, awakened the senses, made lovers fearless. He became living proof of the myth. Women admired him, men envied him, and oysters became the food of seduction. But Casanova wasn't a scientist, he was a performer. He understood the power of story. The oyster wasn't magic, but the myth was. And if people wanted to believe, he let them. Centuries later, scientists tried to break the spell. They studied zinc levels, fertility hormones, chemical triggers. Yes, oysters are rich in zinc. And yes, zinc plays a role in testosterone. But no, oysters don't instantly make you fall in love. Still, biology wasn't the whole truth. Desire isn't measured in milligrams. It lives in the mind, in suggestion, in anticipation. The pop of the shell, the glimmer of flesh, the salt on your tongue. It's theater, a ritual, a tiny performance of seduction. So even when science said no, our hearts said maybe. In the 18th century, the oyster left the palace and entered the streets. Oyster carts lined alleys in London. Dock workers ate them for breakfast. Desire had gone public. And in taverns and brothels, oysters were sold beside ale and affection. Their shape, their texture, their mystery, all fed the imagination. In art, oysters became a secret language. A woman holding an oyster suggested lust. A dinner scene with oysters hinted at something forbidden. It was polite society's code for temptation, a glimmer of desire behind a silver spoon. Then came the fall. By the late 1800s, pollution poisoned the waters. Oyster beds were overfished, rivers filled with industrial waste. People began to get sick. Some even died from tainted oysters. Newspapers called them the food that kills. Desire turned to disgust. The symbol of pleasure had become a threat. By the early 1900s, oysters disappeared from everyday life. The myth nearly died, but myths, like tides, always return. When the world recovered from war, oysters re-emerged, cleaner, rarer, more expensive. What once fed the poor now fed the elite. Hollywood adored them. James Bond ordered oysters before danger. Marilyn Monroe called them her favorite sin. Restaurants marketed them as aphrodisiacs once again. The same story served with candlelight and crystal. It wasn't about science, it was about nostalgia, for a romance that felt forbidden. We wanted to believe, and belief was enough. Today, oysters are icons. Photographed, posted, filmed in slow motion, shells dripping, lips glistening. Dating apps list oyster lover as a personality type. Restaurants call them raw seduction. But now something has changed. We no longer eat oysters for love, we eat them for identity, for confidence, for the suggestion that we are desirable. Desire has been rebranded. It's less about lust and more about the idea of lust. Modern neuroscience finally gives us an answer. When we expect something to be erotic, the brain reacts as if it truly is. Expectation becomes sensation. Ritual becomes chemistry. The mind creates the pleasure the body anticipates. So perhaps oysters do work. Not through biology, but through myth. A myth carried through temples, taverns, palaces, brothels, and modern restaurants. A myth whispered across centuries. We believed, so we felt, and feeling was all that mattered. To open an oyster is to open a secret. Inside lies something raw, alive, and fleeting. For some, it's a delicacy. For others, a symbol of seduction. But beneath it all, the oyster is a mirror, reflecting our human need to turn nature into meaning. We gave it lust, we gave it power, we gave it lies, and it gave us a story we still can't stop tasting. So, was Casanova right? Maybe not. But maybe he understood something deeper, that the greatest aphrodisiac isn't what we eat. It's what we imagine. Oysters don't make us fall in love, but they remind us what it feels like to want, to believe, to chase the shimmer just below the surface. And that perhaps is the desire that never dies.